What's up, Broskies? Damocles here, and today I'm really excited because we're doing our first viewer VOD review. This is coming from the Light7134. They made a post on Reddit with their Mr.Mime gameplay asking for some tips and some analysis, and I said, hey, I can either type it up or I can do a VOD review, and they were more than gracious enough to allow me to do a VOD review so that, you know, there's the potential for some other people to learn from some of these tips, so big shout out to them. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to be just going through their gameplay, and we're going to be analyzing it and just talking about different pain points or mistakes or things that you could do better. But everything is supposed to be constructive. So if I see any negativity in the comments or anything like that, I'm just going to delete them because I want to be able to do more of these. And that only happens if people are willing to submit their clips and, you know, the feedback is useful and constructive. So let's just hop into it, okay? As always, if you like this content, you want me to do more VOD reviews, drop a comment below. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell. They've got the, what I would consider a fairly standard Mr.Mime item set, which is Score Shield, Choice Specs, and Buddy Barrier, of course. I think that's totally fine. Eject button, also my go-to, so no problems there. But yeah, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Twitch or TikTok or wherever, and let me know if you want to see more of these. So the team so far, they're looking like, you know, the classic current solo queue meta of four potential junglers plus a support. The other team looks a little bit more well-rounded. We do have a potion on this team, which I don't know if that's by choice or whatever. Doesn't matter, but we'll see if everybody actually goes to their correct locations and follows, you know, what I would refer to as regular laning. Obviously, the other team has Lucario, so one lane's going to be in a little bit of a, you know, more rough spot, but they do have Decidueye, which comes in a little bit later. So hopefully we'll see how this goes. By the way, there is no audio for this gameplay, so I'm just going to be playing some music or something in the background. That's just how the gameplay is set up. So if you're wondering why everything's muted, that's why. All right, so it looks like Greninja and Zeraora are both in the jungle. Absol is solo top. Charmander and Mr.Mime bottom. I would guess that Lucario is probably bottom too, with maybe an Eldegoss, because that's a really oppressive combo. They go for the neutral Audino, which is really smart to do. I would say, in general, maybe don't put your barrier down like that because it has a fairly long cooldown early on. And if there's nobody there and somebody comes in later, but you've already used it, then you don't have that up potentially. So make sure you, you know, you don't want to waste cooldowns when it's not necessary. But I see what you were trying to do there. You just wanted to make sure nobody could come and take it. So you're going to be going Confusion. I guess you would go probably Barrier as well. That's what I run in basically every Mr.Mime build that I go. You're in a great spot here. Let's see what happens. We got Greninja coming in for a potential gank. Great combo here. It is early on in the game, so the effectiveness when doing it on their tower is not going to be, you know, that massive, but you hit some really nice confusions here. Managed to score a couple points, which is solid, and then you should probably just get out of here right now, because you can't, I'm gonna hazard a guess that you can't take out this Lucario on tower. Just a couple things here. I think you stayed a little bit too long. Obviously, the Greninja also overextended and, you know, and got taken out, but you don't, even though Mr.Mime is really strong at level 4 and you should be aggressive like you were being, you don't have any points to be scored over here, and there's not really, and you're not going to kill Lucario this early in the game when he's on tower, right? So it'd just be best, as soon as you get those points or whatever, just go back and start collecting more XP because you're ahead in this matchup, right? If you look at the levels, you're up. I'm assuming Talonflame is jungling, so you're not going to be up on the Talonflame, but you're pretty close to level 5. And so here we see, let's see here. Okay. Is this the first death? Yeah, okay. So that's what I'm talking about, is if you left after you actually just, like, you know, scored your points, instead of trying to go along with this, you know, level 4 Froakie, that's, I don't know where they're going, then you would have been in a much better position to actually, you know, you would have gone and been able to get this Vespa Queen over here and been in a similar position as your Charmander, where they're level 5 now, where even though you might be actually playing better, you're down in levels now in comparison to your other laner. And you're going to get caught out here. Right here, I would have put the barrier behind yourself or just kept running. Obviously, the Charmeleon doesn't really help you too much in terms of like trying to keep them off of you, but going and trying to push the Vespiquen this way, you do get the Talonflame, but you're not using this to actually escape. You're using it to just try and go for this KO, which is just probably not going to happen given there's 3 people over here and a Lucario. And you just don't want to give up stuff like this this early on in the game, especially with a monster like Lucario. It's just too punishing. So, in the future, obviously, we're looking back at it in hindsight. Confusion them backwards, drop a barrier, and then walk through the barrier so that you don't get caught up here. So here, you're probably going to pick up something, I would imagine. Let's see. Okay, so Lucario actually makes a solid play and dodges the confusion. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but right here, you don't have to go and chase after them, right? It's a Lucario Eldegoss combo, which is going to just be near impossible for you to take out alone as a Mr. Mime this early in the game. So let's see what happens. So he dodges your confusion. As soon as your confusion is down, warning bells should be going off, saying, hey, I probably shouldn't continue to do this. While you do get him pretty low, at the end of the day, you get chunked out a pretty massive amount and have to eat a berry. A much better alternative, I think, would have been to just kind of sit on the tower. There's nothing that they're going to get from this. Like, it doesn't look like they're going down to try and get your Audinos, right? So, something that Mr. Mime is really good at, both offensively and defensively, is going and fighting on the goalpost, right? Because you know where the enemy is going to be. It almost acts as like a pseudo, tunneled area where you can get really easy barriers because you know they're going to be all over the goalpost, and that goes doubly for your own goalpost. So if they're trying to score, they're trying to be aggressive, just sit on your goalpost and try and bait them onto it, get a barrier confusion there rather than out in the middle of the lane so that you don't get chunked out as much. Just something to keep in mind. And something else to keep in mind as well is when you guys are getting KO'd, if you don't have the means to do like a VOD review like this and record your own gameplay, something that I think is just really useful in terms of just general improvement is number one, look at all of the times you got KO'd in a particular game and just analyze what exactly you did wrong with it. And that could mean, if you do have the means to record, go and look back at your own recording. If you don't, something that old school, mobile players, League of Legends players, Dota players, I'm sure, is, just write it down on a notepad, maybe on your computer, on your phone, on an actual piece of paper. Just say, okay, while your death timer's coming up, you say, what did you do here that got you KO'd? I overextended a little bit, got KO'd by Lucario at, the 9-minute mark or something like that. Just so that you have something that you can look back on and say, all right, don't want to make that same mistake again. And even if it's a play where it is 90% your teammate's fault and 10% your fault, you still want to look at it, right? Like one of the main solo queue tips that I give you guys is try and be hyper analytical of your own play. And you're hitting some fantastic barriers here, by the way. And what goes along with that is yes, in Pokemon Unite in particular, it's a little hard to say that because so many of these games are heavily dependent on the fact that Unite has no matchmaking, more so than any other MOBA. But if your teammate is responsible for 90% of a bad play and you're responsible for 10% of it, you want to make sure that you look at the 10% that you were responsible for so that in the future, you don't become the 90% teammate that's making the bad play and your teammate is the one who's making the 10%. Make sense? So you always just want to keep improving. Just try and look at the stuff that you could have potentially improved on. I'm not saying you're not doing that. Obviously, you're asking for a VOD review, so you're looking for some assistance. But I'm just general tip for everybody. Your teammates are pushing up real hard here. You're smart. You go for the experience camp. I do want to keep in mind, just keep an eye on how long that other Audino stays there because that is a large amount of XP. Well, not necessarily a large amount of XP, but that is free XP on the map. You get KO'd again here. Let's just take a look back at it real quick. So teammates are pushed up really far. Jungler is there. So you know that there's probably, unless the Eldegoss is roaming somewhere, there's probably going to be a 3-on-3 here. And Lucario's level 5. He's still below you. Charmeleon hasn't evolved yet. Talonflame is about to hit level 7. They don't have it yet, though. But your Charmeleon gets chunked out and basically leaves you. Your barrier's up and your confusion's gone, so you don't really have anything to fight back with here, and it looks like they're just gonna boop you here. Greninja is trying to do damage from below, but unfortunately this is just too tanky and too bursty of like a 3 stack. Not saying they're 3-man pre-made here, but it's too bursty for you guys to be able to deal with it at this point in the game, so you just get chunked out. But this is another situation where, you know, while you're a support and you do want to help out your team, you have 5 points here, right? So it's not necessarily needed for you to go and score this here, right? I think a lot of people get hung up on the fact that, like, hey, I'm using Score Shield, so that means I should go and try and, you know, score whenever possible. But the reality of the situation is that the benefits of you scoring that 5 there aren't going to outweigh the cost of you getting KO'd here and giving Talonflame a level up, giving Lucario a level up, right? So just something to keep in mind in the future for anybody using Score Shield, especially if you're going like this type of Mr. Mime build, right? You're not going and you're not trying to stack anything up. So scoring a multitude of like tiny little points when you are in a 3-on-3 situation like that, it's just another you know, point where you overextended a little bit too much and they punished you for it. So keep that in mind in the future. You are really powerful because you're Mime, but you know, in that particular circumstance, you were a little bit overextended. That Audino still sitting down there. Obviously, you're a Mr. Mime, so you can't go and just solo the Dreadnought. But it is something that I want you to keep in mind is that, you know, those situations where you were overextending and pushing up towards the enemy point where you didn't really need to, despite being Mr. Mime and being able to be aggressive, you could have gone and instead farmed Audinos a couple times, right? And gotten an even bigger level lead so that when you're trying to fight these later fights, you're not at a level disadvantage, right? Just something to keep in mind. So Charmeleon gets caught out here. You hit a fantastic barrier again. You got your barrier and confusion up. Playing smart here. You hit the Lucario. He gets away because he's Lucario with an Eldegoss pocket healer, which is always nice. And he ends up getting taken out, which is solid. Here you go. You hit another barrier. Nice play. Nice play. Now, Talonflame. It used to be that barrier blocked Talonflame Brave Bird. I'm guessing it doesn't anymore. I think I remember hearing about that. But this is a situation where, obviously, hindsight's 2020. You do have eject button up, and Talonflame has basically blown everything that it's going to blow. Actually, that Aerial Ace might have still gotten you. I don't know. Maybe it was a good call not to use eject button there. But it is something that you just want to keep in mind. It's like, okay, my confusion and my barrier are gone. I'm half HP. We don't have vision of top lane, right? There's no vision of anybody in top lane. You don't have any jungler vision. So pushing up here is a little bit of a gamble, right? You basically got, you know, what was it? You got you're going to get 2 KOs here. It might have just been a better idea to just back off and, you know, try and recoup for the Dreadnought. But instead we push up a little bit here. And now that your confusion is down, it doesn't really give you a lot of time to, you know, to try and dodge this Talonflame. But, you know, you could have tried maybe to use a eject button here, maybe into the bush. But I don't know. The Aerial Ace was still up. They might have still just caught up to you. Is Greninja going to go and get this? I don't know. Talonflame at least had to pop Unite move. So we see Blastoise and Decidueye are still top lane. Nobody's really roamed yet. Zeraora hasn't come down here. I haven't really been paying attention to like who's actually taking the jungle camps or not, but right now you're in a pretty decent position. Nobody's taken the Dreadnought. They just took the Rotom, which is obviously not optimal. You managed to get this Vespiquen, which is solid. Hopefully this will give Charmeleon the level up to Charizard, I'm guessing. Yep, that was great. You set the pick for him. You blocked so that he was able to get that for free. He's going and immediately ulting the Lucario and the Eldegoss on tower, which is interesting. But I do, again, just want to point out here, spending a decent amount of time in this bush, these 3 experience camps, they've been sitting there for, you know, for a decent chunk of this game. So that is free experience. You know, you could potentially be level 9 already. I don't know, maybe you're waiting for your Unite move to come up because you're getting close to hitting level 9. I definitely think it's a smart move not to be diving the Lucario on tower or anything like that, even when you have Charmander here, Charizard here. But just remember, you even though you're support, you still want to keep farming, right? So Eldegoss is back, supporting the Lucario. You're thinking about Unite moving here. Probably not the best play just because they are still on tower, and that's such a beefy combo. We got the jungler back here. You pop Unite move. Let's see what happens. Managed to get the Eldegoss. That's good. You get the Lucario down pretty low. Talonflame and Lucario escape. Oh, right here. You're going to get him. Ooh, close. All right. That wasn't bad. You do miss out on... Let's see. How many points do you have sitting here? There's not too much you could do about that. The alternative play here would have been, okay, maybe just you take the Eldegoss out, your Greninja's roaming down, and you just go and say, all right, let's take Dreadnought now, instead of trying to go and make this play here and get the Lucario, because unless your teammate picks up this Talonflame, yeah, so Talonflame ends up getting 2 kills off of it, which is not the best. I think Greninja hopefully takes this anyway. Oh, no, it resets. Talonflame ends up getting 3 off of it. See, it's just one of those things where in certain situations, you want to just take what you can get. You don't necessarily want to just go and, even though the Lucario is there, now Blastoise is roaming down. Everybody's coming down for this Dreadnought. Oh, are you going to steal this, dude? That would be the meanest thing ever. Oh my gosh. That is so... Oh my gosh, that's so mean, dude. I love it, but hey, this is a situation where Talonflame was overextended, you know, wasn't taking into account, hey, there's a Charizard here, there's a Mr.Mime that's coming back from recall, and he's got a 2-level advantage on you now because it's the jungler and it just got 3 kills, right? It's got sitting on 40 points, but got just a little bit greedy. And that's with the majority of its team down here, right? Like, that Talonflame's probably so upset. Great play there, stealing the Dread. That helps out your team massively. That puts you at a more equal, you know, point of experience, right? Now you're basically tied with the enemy jungler, which is a fantastic place to be in. Don't know why Blastoise... Oh, okay. Eject button there just to get rid of it. But, wow, that Blastoise is investing a lot here. Let's see what happens. Pops the Confusion. Lucario super low. You should probably be able to pick this up, although it is a Lucario. Nice job. You use the eject button to get away. That was smart because you dodged the Decidueye ult as well. Just want to go back and just look at this fight a little bit closer. So Blastoise goes and eject buttons onto tower to get rid of it. I don't know if that's the best option. Normally, just in general, guys, while clearing out the enemy's, you know, lower or outer objective or getting rid of the goal, it, you know, can be seen as beneficial. The reality is that if you are if you're there and the goal is as low as it is, right? It's 3 out of 80. You're going to drastically increase your chances of winning a solo queue match or just any kind of match if you overcap on these points, especially the easier outer points, right? So instead of this, where right now the majority of the team, their point cap is going to be around 40, you could go and feasibly get somebody with 20, 30, 40 points to go and score in this goal and overcap it by, you know, 37 points, which makes it so later on in the game where there's a, you know, maybe a contentious point where, hey, we can't go and get one of these other goals in, but we know that we scored an extra 40 bottom lane. That can potentially help you win games. And that's something that a lot of pro teams and just higher elo players go and take into account. You know, they verbally will go and say, hey, bottom lane is plus 30, you know, top lane is plus 30, because what is that? Okay, that's an extra 60 points. Maybe we don't have to go and sacrifice our life to go and score somewhere else. I hope that makes sense. But he goes and he scores plus 3 here, so it's not necessarily the best value play from this Blastoise. They pop the Unite move. I'm curious if they get anything out of this, though. Do they KO anyone? They get the Greninja, but they use 3 Unite moves here, basically. Eldegoss united, Blastoise united, and Decidueye united right there. So they had to invest a large amount for that additional 6 points. I don't think that was necessarily worth it. You came out on top there. That was really solid. Great Dreadnought steal. I don't think you could have played that much better than you did, just because, I mean, it was a pretty crazy fight. You weren't necessarily trying to go super ham here. You and Charizard managed to escape. I don't think it would have been wise to go and try and chase after an Eldegoss with Decidueye and Blastoise still there. So that was just that was a great fight overall. You held your Unite move. That was really, really solid. But I do want to just point out, sorry, I just want to go back a little bit. I'll fast forward. Let's see, where is this? Sorry. Here, you do sit in this point for a very long period of time, and right there, at that moment, just jumping back, you probably could have KO'd this Lucario here without any issues at all. He's stuck in a... he's stuck in a Fire Blast, so he's slowed. Charizard hits him with basically everything in the kitchen sink minus Unite move, and if you barrier confusioned him right here, he would have been absolutely toast. If you look at how low his HP actually gets, right, it's about half HP before he goes and pops eject button. If you stunned him up right before that, it would have been a KO, and you might have avoided, you know, all the stuff that comes afterwards, you know, with him, with Eldegoss being able to come back, heal him up, and save him. But something to keep in mind, though I do like that you held your Unite move there, because that would have just not been a very good value play. Let me skip back to where we were before. Okay. Sorry if the quality's dipping in and out. You know, this is like a Reddit player or whatever. Oh, wow, this VOD is going for... I'm talking a lot here. I apologize. If you guys think I should trim this down in future videos, let me know. But I'm just going off the top of my head here, trying to provide as much info as possible. So here, you're smart. You're getting the Audinos. Top lane is pushed up excessively. It's not too much. I mean, Rotom... Another thing I will just point out, I think that you should try and... obviously you're playing on mobile. I don't know what the command is for mobile, but try and look out over the map more often. On Switch, it's like what, like L or ZL or something like that, just to get a better understanding of everything that's going on in the map, right? Like maybe here you're not looking over where Rotom is, right? So go and, you know, turn up your sensitivity settings for, you know, actual like map, you know, looking at the map, and go and just zoom on over, look at what is happening with Rotom there, because maybe there's the potential that instead of going and taking these Audinos, you could help push this Rotom in and help the Zeraora score 44 points. You know what I mean? Or go and look bottom lane and see if you could contribute to that team fight. I think that, you know, obviously taking Audinos, this is XP that a lot of people just forget to pick up over the course of a game, so that's smart. You're sitting at 50 points now, but just as a general rule of thumb, it's really smart to just go and be cognizant of everything that's actually happening on the map, so that, especially playing as Mr. Mime, who's a playmaker, right? Like, just so that you can, you know, be aware of everything that's going on and start rotating down to where you need to be. I don't really have a problem with you taking, you know, clearing out these jungle camps or taking the Buffalo Land right here, because it's been sitting there for a little while and nobody else is coming to get it. But, you know, it is getting to that point where it's like, you know, 30 seconds around Zapdos, it's probably time to start heading towards Zapdos, or just going and making sure that your teammates aren't, you know, getting caught out and throwing right before Zapdos. As soon as I start to see the Zapdos timer tick down, I immediately think about, like, okay, where am I going to go and position? Especially if you're playing a character like Mr. Mime, right, where your specialty is area denial and punishing people in tunnels. I think right here you get a little bit tunnel visioned on the Dreadnought that there's no way you're going to be able to complete in time. And so, you know, do you get this Decidueye here? That would be a really nice pickoff. Ooh, missed it a little bit, but that's okay. But like right here, you know, you expend a large amount of time and energy walking down into Dreadnought for basically nothing here, right? I'm sure you already, you know, you recognize this mistake. It's not something that, you know, is exactly hidden, but Dreadnought's going to disappear, and now you're out of position with Zapdos, right? If you look at where everybody is on the map, none of your teammates have an eye on Zapdos. Obviously, you can go and use your map vision to go and scroll up on the map and look at where Zapdos is, but nobody's actually near the Zapdos pit. So if they were hypothetically rushing this down, which they're not because you can see where some of their damage dealers are, you wouldn't really have an ability to go and impact this fight. And you're not able to go and make use of what Mr. Mime is great at, which is that area denial, which is, punishing people around that Zapdos pit, punishing people trying to come in from the side or from above. So right now, if you really think about it, right, you've got Decidueye above you, you've got Lucario above you, you've got Talonflame above you, and you're going to have to go through all of them in order to actually get to the pit. Looks like Decidueye is going to try and come up behind you here, but if you see right here, right, like Eldegoss and Blastoise, their tank and support are in that funnel where normally you would want to go and drop a Mr. Mime barrier and get a pick off, but because you went down for the Dreadnought, you're not able to go and do that. Let's see what happens here. Talonflame, I would say Talonflame, and man, it's tough. Primary targets here would be Talonflame, Lucario, and Decidueye, honestly, because they're all fantastic at stealing Zapdoses, right? But you get hit by the Spirit Shackle here, which is gonna slow you down a little bit. I don't know. Did you stop here because of the Spirit Shackle? Maybe you did, just so you didn't take extra damage. That's pretty smart. You actually make a so here's the thing, right? Like I said before, make sure you're utilizing your vision, right? Go and look and see where Zapdos is. Like you don't know what the status of Zapdos currently is in terms of HP pool right now because you're not looking at it. So you're kind of flying blind here. You're making a decent play. You're solo uniting Decidueye and Lucario, which is kind of keeping them from being able to go and participate in the fight, which is solid because they are the ones that, they're going to deal a large amount of objective damage, and they're also going to deal a large amount of damage to your team. But it looks like, so Zeraora manages to take it from the Talonflame, but I do just want to keep in mind, right, like this is kind of like a sweaty palm situation where throughout the entire course of the Zapdos fight, you actually don't have vision of Zapdos at all. Like you don't see the HP bar. So there could be a situation here where this Unite move could have been used on top of the Zapdos and, potentially prevented somebody from taking it. It looks like Talonflame just tried to go for a steal and missed it. But thankfully your teammate Zeraora manages to get it. But you still had a decent play, right? You landed a Unite move on 2 primary targets that prevented your team from, from losing the game there. And let's see what we do here. You managed to score. I'm assuming you win this game, right? Blastoise goes and scores 100, I'm assuming. You're smart, you go back. That's what people should do. And now we're basically playing defense, right? My suggestion here would be, okay, so Decidueye's coming up. He's going to try and do something. I'm trying to think here. Let's just see how this plays out. You managed to hit the Blastoise. Zeraora is thankfully going top lane. I think you probably made the right value choice here. Blastoise scores 100 bottom, obviously, then goes and gets some more stuff. If you look, Decidueye, you already know Decidueye's sitting there with 50. You don't want him to score 100 on your base. So instead of going and stopping the Eldegoss that's scoring 80, you go and you just, you eat that 80 points and you try to stop the Decidueye, right? I think, given everything else that's going on, that's probably the best, that's basically the best value choice that you could have made in that situation, even though, Blastoise obviously scores there. Because if you had gone earlier, Zeraora wouldn't have been up in time to try and prevent Blastoise and Decidueye from scoring. So that's a good choice there. And then obviously you're just here. We just took out Decidueye. Blastoise is back at base. Everybody's back at base, and you're basically just waiting out to win this game. And you're smart. You're not going in throwing at the other base. Your teammates have no points, but they're still sitting up there, so it's kind of opening up the potential for the enemy team to try and walk it back and try and score a few points, top or mid. But thankfully, obviously they're on the other side of the map, and you end up, I'm assuming, getting the W here, ending up at level 14, which is solid. Let's see what the score differential is here. 652 to 366, that's solid. How'd we do here? 6-3, 126 points, that's fine. That's solid, dude. How'd everybody else on your team do? Everybody else scored a decent amount of points. Thankfully, they went and scored with the Zapdos. Wow, this has gone on for quite some time. I hope you guys don't mind how long this video went on, but I love doing these VOD reviews, guys, and I hope you, this helped you out, Light. I hope, you know, some of these tips helped you out. If there's any, you know, points of improvement that you guys would like to hear or anything like that, please let me know. Solid gameplay, dude. Just the stuff that I talked about, right? Like, you want to watch that positioning. Try and look at your map more. If you look, you really didn't, you know, go and zoom around the map like at all this game to see like where everything is or what's going on. Like here, you checked briefly, but like right there, you checked real quick. But throughout the course of this fight, you didn't really have an actual eye on Zapdos. So it's just something to keep in mind, right? Because Mr. Mime is really solid at you know, trying to stop those steals, trying to stop those engages. But I think you made the right choice targeting the Decidueye and the Lucario. At least that they kept their focus on you, thankfully. If they had gone for the Zap, I would have just gone and popped Unite Move on Zapdos too, because that's going to prevent any close range steals. But overall, really fun game to watch, really nice to analyze. You played great. Obviously, there were some mistakes that I pointed out, but I hope this helped you out, and let me know if you guys want to see more stuff like this. Make sure you drop any comments down below, things I could have improved on, and thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and the like button, and comment down below what you want to see next. Thank you so much, Light7134, for letting me do this, and I hope this helps you guys out. That's it for me. Damocles out.